Donald Trump, this is what really happened that night. Donald Trump showed up one night outside our show, banging on the backstage door. It was 2007. He had a half-finished bucket of chicken under his arm. And he was screaming that he needed to use the bathroom. But unfortunately, there was someone in the bathroom. I believe it was Zach Braff who was in the bathroom. So Donald took a look around. He stuffed the remainder of the chicken in his jacket. He dropped his pants. He did his business in the bucket. That's true.
In the long and storied history of the American presidency, the White House has always stood as a silent sentinel of dignity, a fortress of decorum where the weight of the world is managed with quiet resolve. We remember the stoic grace of Eisenhower, the polished charm of Kennedy, and the gentlemanly conduct of Reagan. These were men who understood that the office they held was greater than themselves. They were temporary stewards of a sacred trust. But this week, the People's House looked less like a beacon of global democracy and more like the set of a chaotic reality television show, spiraling into a spectacle that left the nation stunned and the world wondering who is actually flying the plane.
I'm telling you, true story. I don't even think you'd deny it. No talent, but I'd go to a studio to do a shot, to do a thing. He would stand outside on the sidewalk waiting for me. Oh, here he comes, Donald Trump. Oh, he opens my door. I said, does he do this to everybody, to his people? He does it for nobody.
Right. Including you, I do it for nobody because that never happened.
The catalyst for this unraveling wasn't a foreign crisis or legislative defeat. It was a comedian. Jimmy Kimmel, long a late-night critic of Donald Trump, delivered a segment that cut deeper than satire, targeting Trump's inner circle and especially his 28-year-old press secretary, Karoline Leavitt. What followed was a chain reaction that exposed just how fragile the administration's public image has become. It began with a surreal visual, a video showing large black garbage bags being thrown from a second-story White House window. No context, no ceremony, just trash tossed into public view.
He goes out and reads my truth to the entire audience right before the best prime time, the best picture, and it said basically, he is the worst host of the history. He reads the whole thing, and then I think he said something like, ha, 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 he thinks he bothers me, or some crap like that. I said, he's one of the dumbest human beings ever. He should have listened to his wife. What a dope.
Kimmel framed it as symbolic. We used to have state dinners, he joked. Now we have a landlord dispute on Pennsylvania Avenue. The image alone suggested disorder, but it also set the tone for a week defined by optics over substance. Kimmel then pivoted to Trump's remarks about fitness, mocking the irony of a president lecturing military leaders on physical readiness. The humor landed, but it also underscored a broader pattern, statements disconnected from reality, delivered with confidence but lacking credibility. The sharpest moment came when Kimmel aired a clip of Trump commenting on Leavitt's appearance, praising those lips, and comparing her speech to a machine gun. The audience reaction shifted from laughter to discomfort. Kimmel leaned into it. Does the White House have human resources? The joke highlighted a deeper issue, an environment where professionalism appears secondary to personal flattery and spectacle. He followed with commentary on Leavitt's personal life, pointing out her marriage to a much older man. The punchline suggested not just humor, but a pattern of relationships and dynamics shaped by imbalance and perception, rather than merit. Then the tone changed entirely. Kimmel addressed the death of Alex Petty, an ICU nurse and veteran killed by federal agents. While officials framed Petty as a threat, Kimmel presented a different image, a caregiver, a community member, a man whose weapon was never used. Karoline Leavitt stood at that podium and lied about a dead man to protect a living one, he said, dropping the comedic tone. It was a stark moment that cut through the satire and raised questions about truth, accountability, and narrative control. Even lighter traditions weren't spared. At the annual turkey pardon, Trump veered off script, turning a ceremonial moment into a platform for insults. Kimmel noted the contrast. Where past presidents sought unity, this became another stage for ridicule. The response from Trump was immediate. Watching the segment, he reportedly lashed out publicly, defending Leavitt's appearance and attacking Kimmel as a loser. It wasn't a policy rebuttal or strategic message, it was personal, emotional, and revealing. For many observers, the contrast was stark. Past presidents projected restraint under pressure. Here was a former president engaging in a public feud with a comedian while larger issues went unaddressed. Kimmel's segment didn't just entertain, it exposed how easily the administration's messaging could be disrupted, how quickly it shifted from governance to grievance. As the week closed, the imagery lingered. Garbage bags from White House windows, a press secretary reduced to talking points about appearance, and a president reacting to late-night jokes with visible anger. The symbolism was difficult to ignore. The dignity of the office, once carefully maintained, now seemed overshadowed by spectacle. And as Trump continues to defend the machine gun mouth of his spokesperson while dismissing criticism, the broader picture becomes clear. What once resembled structured leadership now feels improvisational, reactive, and deeply personal. The curtain has been pulled back, and what we see isn't leadership, it's a circus searching for a ringmaster.